Hi, this is Greg Kilstrom. Welcome to the Agile World podcast, where we discuss customer experience, employee experience, and transformation in an agile age. The Agile World podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To read more about the topics discussed on this show, you can go to my website at theagile.world and read my latest articles or get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, a blueprint for creating an experience-led organization, now available on Amazon and other retailers. Hi, I'm Greg Kilstrom. Welcome back to the Agile World. Today I'm going to talk about brand experience and share some thoughts from my most recent book, The Center of Experience. This book is a blueprint for organizations to create what I call an experience-led organization. What this means is that both the internal, the employee experience, as well as the external, the customer experience, are tied together and work for meaningful improvement for all audiences. Change is inevitable and often necessary for companies to survive. And we live in a time when, if your industry hasn't already been disrupted by some new upstart or some new idea, it probably will be. Organizations need to be agile. They need to be able to adapt to this, as well as survive in this age of both competition going through what's usually termed as digital transformation, as well as embracing experience. In order to do this, they need to adopt this concept of brand experience. It's not just enough to adopt customer experience and make sure that you have happy customers, because if the employees that are serving them are not happy, you're not going to have continual improvement in products. You're not going to have great customer service. And ultimately, those customers are going to be less happy over time. So tying these two things together becomes so critical. This era of experience that we're in has been brought about by several different things, but everything from consumers having greater choice on the customer side to on the employee side, lower employment rates, everyone having greater access to technology. So customers are used to personalized content, personalized experiences, as well as employees are. So employees are consumers when they're not working. So it becomes so important that employers understand this and start adapting the tools that are required, the applications that are required, all of those, the virtual as well as the physical environment, to adapting that to employees so that they are more comfortable and have things that they're used to using on, in their daily lives. So I created the concept of the center of experience that really ties all of this, all of these concepts together. So everything from both employee and customer experience are tied together in this central idea that has a few different components, which I'll talk about in subsequent episodes. But the essential idea is we really start with at the very center of the center of experience, we start with employees and motivated employees. And I believe that a truly motivated employee helps create a great company culture. That company culture then creates happy customers who buy more often, and recommend more often. And that ultimately lifts the brand. So any of those KPIs, whether it's cost savings from if you have happy employees, there's less turnover, there's higher retention, there's greater productivity, as well as on the outside with customers, you have customer retention, customers who buy more, and they buy more often. And again, they refer other customers, they refer partners, so on and so forth. So all of these things tied together from this central idea of let's start at the center of this, let's start with employees. And when we do that well, we're going to have this ecosystem that is really built around great experience. And so ultimately, the definition of brand experience is really employee experience plus customer experience. It includes, within employee experience, we could divide that into both employees as well as leadership. Each of those categories have their own individual needs and things like that, which I'll discuss more as well. And it really, the underlying premise is, CX, customer experience, and EX, employee experience, need to work together. And there's a few ways that they do this. So getting feedback is so critical to this process. So we can have the best designs, we can use research, we can do so many things, but if we're not able to get feedback that is timely as well as relevant, we're not going to have as great a feedback loop, which helps us optimize, again, using agile properties and principles. We can iterate, optimize, and use that feedback, again, whether it's internal, like an employee net promoter score, external with a customer net promoter score, to many other different devices that can be used. Getting that feedback, using it, optimizing is so critical. This also works in the inverse. So customers want feedback and employees want feedback as well from the company. So having personalized customer experiences, for instance, an organization that understands what their customers like and offers them personalized experiences, it's not only beneficial, but customers at this point expect it. And when they don't get it, they actually will move elsewhere in many cases. Employees also love feedback. They do want to know that they're contributing to an organization and that their work is valued and things like that. Every person and every employee has some different motivators that are specific to them, but everyone wants that feedback and wants to know that they're valued and valuable to an organization. Finally, it really comes back to experience. I say in my book that experience is everything, and everything is experience. There is no pulling apart a product from an experience anymore. The experience of owning something means that you either give it a great review or a bad review or no review at all. And in some cases, giving it no review at all means that, or in most cases, means that you're not recommending it to someone else. And so that company, that brand loses the opportunity to get someone else knowing about, how great the product is or the problems that it can solve. And so companies that understand that experience is really at the center of all of these things start to build in what is it like to buy a product? What is it like to own a product? What are the benefits to recommending it? What is the repeat purchase process? All of those things. That's not just a transaction. That's an experience that organizations need to understand. And so thinking through what that actual journey looks like, that's why there's so much talk about mapping, customer journeys, employee journeys. There's so much talk about that because it matters. Getting someone from one step to the next, making it an enjoyable process is so important. In my book, The Agile Brand, I talked a bit about the stages and the evolution of brands where we have evolved way beyond simply being recognized is important. We need to not only easily communicate the value and the problems that we solve, but that experience is so key. And even beyond that, the relationship that we have with our customers or the relationship that we have with our employees really means the difference between a repeat buy or a recommendation, which is so important these days, and not. So a few things to think about as you're tackling this whole idea of brand experience. Stop thinking about a customer brand and employee brand as being separate or even related to one another. Start thinking about them as the same thing. They may have different wording. Your talent brand or your employee brand may use different words than your customer brand, but they need to be saying the same message and overall, and the same underlying principles need to be in both. So start thinking about that. The other thing is to stop thinking tactically and even thinking about successful tactics without really understanding the effect on the rest of the experience. You could, spend a lot of money on advertising and generate a lot of traffic. You could even get someone through, a step in the funnel, but if it has a negative impact or very little impact on the overall experience, you need to start thinking about the holistic effect. So if it gets them part of the way through, but it's the wrong people that you're getting through part of the journey, then is it really successful? The true success is not only getting them through to in the case of a customer, getting them through to the path to purchase, but that they have a great experience that they're willing to share and happy about, that again gets them to buy more often and refer others. So those are a couple ways to start thinking about brand experience. Once again, this is Greg Kihlstrom with the Agile World. Thanks for listening. Thanks again for listening to the Agile World podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom. You can learn more and get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, from my website at theagile.world or on Amazon or other retailers. Until next week, stay agile.